I have exciting news. I am now a published author. So I've written a book on a comprehensive guide to sailboat rigging. It covers everything you need to know, from how to inspect your rigging, how to build your rigging, how to repair it, all of it, and how it ties into how the sails interact with each other, and how to get the best performance out of your sails. The foreword of the book was written by my personal idol of authors, Lynn Party. So that's just extra icing on the cake. So this is just a monumental moment for me because I'm now a published author on rigging, a thing that I love so much. And I provided a link where you can buy your own copy of the book below. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the book.
We've got big plans for the small boat. We're learning as we go. So come along, we'll teach you stuff as we go building Windpuff.
It is a brisk 27 degrees without the wind chill. I don't even know what it comes out to be with the wind chill because it's blowing between 18 to 20. So it's quite windy. And it's been super windy. We had gusts into the 40s here recently, and it was enough that it actually blew some of the blankets out to keep the air from coming into the boat, so through that little air gap. Our dreams and desires of sealing up the transom have been dashed until weather improves. It is so stinking cold, and just so cold and windy. I got my giant template piece. It looks like it's cured. We're going to pop it off, and then we're going to set it aside, and we're going to go do something else that can get done. Last time I worked for about 4 hours trying all sorts of different methods to try and seal up the transom. All of them failed miserably. None of it worked. It was very disappointing. And I mean, I started at 8 and now it's noon and I've gotten 0 done. Maddie was so thrilled with the progress. So I then turned around and did something that I actually could do. So we glassed up and tabbed up the starboard bulwark. So now the bulwarks on the original boat are done. I wanted to have the transom sealed up, that way we could then continue the bulwarks, the tabbing all the way into them. But as we see, that's just not the case. We're going to keep with those lovely blankets in the meantime until weather improves and we can then go doing it. There is a whole boat to rebuild. There is no point diddling on the fact that we can't get the transom extension finished up at this very second, when there is an entire interior to gut out and then start building back up. So that's exactly what we're going to start doing today. We're going to gut the interior. We're going to cut out all the pieces of wood, just everything. We're going to take it all apart, take it all out, and then we're going to be adding some structural reinforcements to this hull, which it does not have, and which I strongly believe it very much needs. So one of the big issues on this boat, which is a known issue, is it's a deck step boat with no compression post because it didn't need it. Now, what happens is the deck flexes because it has no compression post. And then the mast step is super short. I mean, look at this thing. Normally a mast step will be, a couple inches tall. That. So the previous owner put that nice bolt through the bottom to try and hold it on so that in the event that the mast did, or the deck did pop down, the mast wouldn't hop off the mast step and fall over. To avoid that, we're going to be keel stepped. But previous owner did something as well to help mitigate that issue, and check it out. This right here, if you're ever looking for a boat and you see this, it means that the boat needs some structural changes to make it so. What that means is the boat needed a compression post. Now, if you have a boat and it's got something like that, it needs a compression post. And if people tell you it didn't need a compression post, it still needed the compression post. So, what a compression post does is it takes the force from the mast that hits the deck and then transfers it down to the keel. Now, it's not one continuous spar because there's a deck in the middle of it, but it pretty much gives you the transfer of load down to the keel. Now, a keel step mast pops through the deck and goes to the keel. Now, the big advantage of a keel step mast, in my view, is it's stronger because it has the mast deck junction to hold it up. So between the keel step and the mast deck junction, the mast can stay standing. So if your rigging goes away and your sails aren't up, your mast won't fall over. Being how we're going to be putting synthetic standing rigging on this, and it gets blisteringly cold here in Maryland in the winter, our rigging will go completely slack. And when it does so, guess what? The mast is unsupported. And it better be supported by the fact that it's keel stepped, because if it's deck stepped, it will be coming down, probably, most likely. If not, it's going to bend really far, or like lean over really far, and probably damage itself on the mast step when it starts leaning like that. So that's just one of the reasons that we're going to be completely rebuilding this boat. Now the other thing, this boat has no stringers, it has no floors, there's no structural grid to it. It's just a really thick hull, which is thicker than it needs to be. But why not be thicker than it needs to be and structurally reinforced? So we're going to be adding structural stringers throughout this whole thing. We're going to be adding floors in the keel. We're going to be putting all sorts of stuff that that in my opinion it should have. Now, these are all wooden boat construction pieces, so we're going to be building the floors, the frames, the stringers, and the carlins. We're adding them in. And why? It's because it makes it stronger. And I'm trying to build a boat that's super strong. That way, it's just rock solid. Now, our Morgan has these things, and we've done some bad things with that boat, and it survived, and it made it through just fine. So, I kind of think, based on my sample of one, that the boats need them. And you hear about stories where people bump into things that we've bumped into, and then they sink, or they, hole their hull and stuff like that. And they didn't have those structural components. So it kind of makes me think that boats should have them. I don't know if they need to have them because I'm not a naval architect, but the ones that make it have them. The ones that don't make it don't have them. So you can kind of assume by process of elimination that you should have them. So we're going to be putting them in. So let's have a little review for boat design. So there's long things that run this way on the hull, fore aft, and they're like, we're going to call everything in this case a rib because it's easier to visualize. So there's going to be long ribs that run fore aft, all the way like that. Those are called stringers. And what they do is they give the hull stiffness in this dimension, okay? They're usually laid up. You have like a little form that makes a little box, and then you have unidirectional glass that's running just this way. And then over that, you have biaxial glass that runs at 45-degree angles up and down, and that holds it into the hull. And that is really, really strong, only in this one dimension. That's thing number one. Number two are called floors. And floors are not that. They're not the thing that you walk on. They're the thing under the thing that you walk on. So in a boat, the sole is the floor. The floor is the frame that attaches the frames, which are the thing that people call ribs in a boat. They look like big ribs coming up the sides. Those are called frames. And the way that the frames attach to the keel is with a floor. Just go with it. And for fun, ceilings are not this. They're actually the sides of the hull on the inside. Here's the names. So we're going to add floors in the boat. So that means that we need to get the cabin sole cut out of the way. We need to cut everything out of the hull, take out the bulkheads, all of it. We're going to gut it down to the bare hull. And then we're going to start laying up the stringers. Then we're going to lay up floors down in the keel. And then we're going to add frames in a couple areas. And then we're going to put bulkheads back in. That is what we need to do. Now, in order to do that, as you can imagine, none of all of this can be here. This all needs to go. It's kind of like those fire sales. Everything must go. Now, there is a lot of gorgeous wood in this boat, and you guys are probably thinking, oh man, he's gonna just cut that gorgeous wood out and just throw it away. Yes. Yes, I am. So actually, most of this wood is not actually wood. It's plywood with Formica laminate that looks like wood. Like this gorgeous bulkhead here, plastic. That's not wood. This gorgeous door is wood, but it's tiny and oh my god, it's like it constantly comes free and does that. It's got this little latch here to hold it in place, and I can tell you that latch never stays because if it did, it wouldn't have been loose right now. And when you're sailing, you constantly hear clang, 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 clang. So that door is going. Let's see, what else looks like wood? This probably is wood. But these guys, these are gorgeous, and I love them, and we're going to be using them. So my plan is take them out, take them away from here, that way they don't get damaged, and then later, up in the V-berth, in this area, let's go on a little tour here. Up here, we're gonna make bunks on this side, and then we're gonna put those beautiful doors on this side. So that'll be storage locker. And the chain locker is going away because we're gonna relocate it, and then the bunks can actually go up into that teeny tiny bit of an area. So that is our plan, or my plan, for the interior of the boat. So much to do. So this pretty cabinet door, or facing, this guy we'll reuse. So I'm gonna get it out of here, we'll keep it safe, and then we'll bring it back. And the plan is to have this like double stacked, so from both sides, and have that be the locker access for the V-berth area, which will be the bunk bed area. The forward cabin, some could call it.
I never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back. While I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow.
How I thought I had the boat completely emptied out, and then I got in there and I started going through lockers, and I'm like, whoops, I forgot to open this and see what was in it. Now, a funny thing, the boat has had a gas engine, and most of the lockers were full of spare engine parts: impellers, hoses, belts, distributor, the whole distributor, not just the cap. Yeah, lots of random things that took up a lot of space that were all centered around the gas engine. So by switching to electric, you just have a couple spare parts that are small. They're electronic items. And that's it. Like, you don't have to devote all this time, effort, and energy to maintaining the gas engine or diesel engine or whatever you have, because there's just fewer parts to break. With 3 parts, we can rebuild the whole engine because it's made of 3 parts. We have the entire port, salon, settee, cut out. It's down to the hull. Now, something that was a little unnerving, when you're taking a multi-tool and just cutting blindly at a piece of wood that's up against the hull, you got to make sure that wood fibers are coming out, like wood dust, brown or black, and that it's not white, because white would be fiberglass, and you might be perfing your hull. When I was cutting, I'd cut shy, take out the piece, and then go back and cut again. I also got a circular saw blade that can cut wood and metal. I did not know that was a thing. I saw it, I bought it, and I'm so glad I did. So we can just make the huge cuts with the circular saw, and then do the last little bits with the multi-tool. And then once the big piece is out, then we can go back and like cut a little bit, or as I'm going to do in this case, where it's I think an angle grinder would do best, or most efficiently, at just taking off that last little bit of tabbing that takes the old settee and tabs it to the hull. So we got that out. Then we're going to do the other side. Then we're going to do everything else. We're gonna gut the entire hall. That way we can lay in stringers, floors, some frames, and most importantly carlins, because the deck's kind of bouncy. It's not soft. I thought it was soft. It's just bouncy. So we're gonna stiffen that up and make it a lot stronger.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Wisdom. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next Rigging Doctor episode. And if you're interested in even more Rigging Doctor awesomeness, consider becoming a patron to see all of our extras. Can't wait to see you next time as you join us out here on the high seas.